What's going on, guys? My name is Wade with TechDaily. So Samsung has officially announced their new Galaxy S26 lineup, and while most of the focus was on the new S26 Ultra, I want to talk about the regular S26 and S26 Plus in this video because I feel like these two phones haven't really gotten the attention they deserve over the last couple of years, actually. Yes, the Ultra is the one with the crazy camera specs, the best features. This year, it also has some new exclusive stuff, like the privacy display, which is pretty wild, and faster charging, and a slightly better processor still, and the S Pen, of course. But I feel like the regular S26 is once again the best small-sized phone you could buy that's comfortable in your hand and in your pocket with no other compromises. In fact, I think it's still the smallest flagship Android phone on the market, which is crazy to think about. And I also believe the Plus is probably still that perfect middle ground where you get a couple little extras along with the bigger screen, but it's not a totally over-the-top smartphone. Now, unfortunately, for all the positives I'm going to present, we actually have to start off with a bit of a negative. This year, Samsung did increase the price for both the regular S26 and S26 Plus. The regular one starts at $899 now, the Plus is $1099. The Ultra didn't get a price bump, and when we asked Samsung about this, they sort of just said it's an interesting time to be in tech right now, and we all know prices for a lot of tech components are crazy high, so not totally unexpected, I guess, but definitely a bummer. The consolation prize here is that the regular S26 now comes with 256 gigabytes of storage as the base model option, and you can opt for 512 gigabytes if you want. On the flip side, you don't get any more storage with the Plus anymore. It's also 256 gigabytes to start and 512 gigs as an option, and both phones are powered by 12 gigabytes of RAM. All the S26s this year come in 6 colors: Cobalt Violet, which is that darker purple blue, white and black if you like to be boring, Sky Blue, which is a very light shade, and then 2 Samsung.com online exclusives, Pink Gold and Silver Shadow. Oh, and pre-orders for all these phones start today with the official launch day on March 11th. If you want to get a jump on pre-ordering, check the trade-in offers, or just see if Samsung has any deals or free accessories like they sometimes do with these new phones. I'll leave some links down below in the video description so you can check in on that. Now, size-wise, it might be kind of hard to tell, but the regular S26 is actually a tiny bit bigger this year. Its screen size is measured at 6.3 inches. Last year it was 6.2. The difference in dimensions we're talking about here is literally millimeters, even fractions of a millimeter. So it doesn't really make a big difference. It's still a fairly small phone. And the S26 Plus retains essentially the same dimensions as last year. It's a 6.7 inch device. Beyond that, I wouldn't blame you if you said last year's phone and this year's look exactly the same, because, well, they basically do. The Ultra now looks exactly like these two phones, which is a little trippy to see. I guess technically the camera module was altered again ever so slightly, so if you want to nitpick a difference, that's basically it. But everything else physically with these two S26s is essentially the same as last year and a lot of previous S-series phones at this point. So now this begs the question of what's actually new or different with these. Well, there's been a slight singular improvement with the charging speeds, still 25 watt wired and 15 watt wireless with the regular S26 and 45 watt wired for the Plus, but the Plus also supports 20 watt wireless charging now, which is technically an increase from 15. One more tally in the column for the S26 Plus, I suppose, but I think this is a bit of a stretch calling it an upgrade. The regular S26 did get a bump up in battery size too, since it's technically a tad bigger. The spec sheet now says it's a 4300 milliamp hour battery, and the Plus retains its 4900 milliamp hour battery. Will that extra 300 milliamp hours make a difference on the regular sized S26 this year? Probably not, but an increase is an increase, some 7 or 8%, whatever it is, and we shouldn't discourage progress, I guess. The vast majority of what's new with the S26s this year is on the software side and with performance. Powering these phones is an all-new Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5 chipset that is once again made for Galaxy. and Samsung actually stressed that this Qualcomm processor is very much customized and curated to work best on these specific Samsung smartphones, and to manage and handle the new AI features and other Samsung-specific software. The S26s obviously ship with a new One UI 8.5 update, and with that comes a myriad of new software add-ons and AI enhancements that were basically the bulk of Samsung's announcement. With all of this, Samsung is trying to evolve what was originally Galaxy AI on the S24 into this multi-layer agentic AI that can work on behalf of you, think ahead for you, or anticipate your future needs or tasks that maybe you haven't even thought of yet. And all of this is seamlessly incorporated within One UI and processed quickly and effortlessly with that latest made-for-Galaxy processor. Now, I did get a chance to try out a couple of the new AI features already, and one thing Samsung wants to do is have the phone prompt suggestions that are tailored specific to you in the moment and are easy to utilize and are actually helpful. They implemented this with Now Nudge. It's real-time suggestions within the keyboard that are based on the context of on-screen conversations and information. So, for example, if you get a text message from a friend asking for photos from a recent trip, the keyboard will automatically show a share photos link, and when you tap on that, only photos from that trip that's being talked about will be shown. It's trying to be one step ahead of you. It's a similar story with, say, a calendar invite. If you're asked about a certain day or time, the keyboard can present you with your schedule and actually references that day. On the LLM side, in search, for example, you can more easily ask natural language questions with more context to get more specific or tailored results across your entire phone and across all your different apps. And one demo that was particularly interesting, you can actually task Gemini with ordering you an Uber now to a location of your choice. Gemini will work in the background inside the Uber app to set up your ride, and then you'll confirm the details with one final press. Gemini is literally taking over that task in the app for you, and you can take back control at any time if something goes wrong. But Samsung says they're starting with the Uber app and will hopefully bring this feature to a number of other apps very soon. There's also even better call screening or spam and scam detection with an assistant asking the caller the reason for the call and relaying those details back to you before you answer. For document scanning, you'll get a prettier final result with the photos automatically being transferred into a centered, color-corrected, and detailed-looking PDF. It removes shadows, it removes your finger, folds, or creases in the page, and you can add multiple document scans to a file as you go along. And Samsung is also incorporating even more AI photo features like Photo Assist. You now have the ability to fully edit your images using natural language prompts to add a different background, change the scenery, and even bring multiple elements from different photos together into a newly edited picture. They're also launching a new app for making stickers, greeting cards, invitations, and wallpapers. Arguably, One UI 8.5 and all the AI and software changes are basically the biggest upgrades to the entire S26 lineup this year. And while many of the older phones may get some of these software changes, a lot of the on-device AI add-ons will remain exclusive to the S26 lineup. Part of that, Samsung says, has to do with the new Galaxy chip that is this much faster and more powerful one than last year. And I'm sure part of it too is just exclusivity. They have to get people to want to upgrade. So it'll be interesting to see what stays exclusive here and what trickles down to older or lower tier Samsung phones as they get a number of different software updates. Now, I want to just fire off a few more bits of information that I think are important. The cameras this year on these phones seem to be basically the same as last year, and any improvements would be at the hands of the software, not really anything else. The screens are also the same. The cool privacy display feature is only on the Ultra. The S26 Plus still has a quad HD resolution display, while the regular S26 is 1080p. Samsung mentioned that the screen on the Plus might look a little better visually thanks to some MDNEI improvements, but not something you'd notice probably, and that's kind of it. So at this point, you're probably wondering, well, what's the deal with these phones? And both I and Samsung seem to have a similar perspective. This release is the the best example thus far of the simple fact that most people just don't upgrade their phones every year anymore. So it's probably not worth it to compare these phones to last year's in a one-to-one battle of the specs. Instead, Samsung suggests these new phones are for folks who have an S22 or S23, for example, who are 2 or 3 or more years behind, and who would see this phone as a huge upgrade compared to their current one. I also think Samsung's AI focus is interesting right now because from the S24 until now, from what was originally Galaxy AI to what Galaxy AI and Gemini and everything else is now, there's been some crazy progress on actually incorporating a useful AI experience within One UI, so much so that it feels less like an intrusive and unnecessary add-on or afterthought and more like a seamless integration within the overall software. I think most of all, while the S26 Ultra certainly gets the spotlight and the fun new features, there is still a market for a quote-unquote normal smartphone, if you want to call it that, a standard issue Samsung flagship that isn't a $1,200 phone. And if you need something small, something normal, maybe something that's a little better than the rest but not over the top, that's still where these two phones come in. Granted, they're not that exciting, they're not that different from the last few years now, but they still feel like a solid and worthwhile option, and the best customer for these is someone who has missed out on the last few new Samsung phones. Now might just be your time to finally upgrade if that's you. But what do you guys think? Is there a reason to get either of these new S26s? Would you rather just get the Ultra instead? Let me know in the comments down below. I'd love to hear your thoughts, of course. Hopefully you guys did enjoy this video though. Be sure to follow TechDaily on Twitter and subscribe to the TechDaily YouTube channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys later.